funny enough, I was like, maybe I can make some money, which isn't necessarily the way to get into it, because it's not like that. But yeah, so around college is when I fell into it and took it a lot more seriously in Austin.
I mean, you're in a good place for it in Austin. Do you have, you mentioned auditions, do you have like a particular kind of memorable audition, either bad or good?
Yeah, dude. The first audition I got for like a real TV show was called, can I say that with a strike?
I don't think you can say the title.
Woo! It was a basketball show based in Austin.
Okay.
And like drama. It was
Okay.
like a drama shot in Austin. And I was going in with a big casting director, and it was my first time getting like a real audition. It was still only like a few lines, but I was like, okay, this is it, you know, it's not a commercial. It's a narrative thing. But it was, I just acted like for like 2 months, and I hadn't gotten to the point where you separate yourself from your character. Like what you do as a character is not who you are, it doesn't represent you. But I was so like, I want to play roles that represent me. And the character was like, a bigot. Like he was like meant to be in the stands, like being really rude and vulgar and you know, saying ridiculous things. And I just was like, oh, like, but it doesn't totally say that. It just says they're berating the other basketball team. So I come up with all these other like sports, the ways to rag on a different team that are all like basically PG. And I walk in and I'm doing it, and they go, oh, Eman, this is really good, but just you know, just let it rip. And I'm like, let it rip. And they're like, yeah, throw some coins in the curse jar and let it rip. And I'm like, okay, you know, and I start saying a bunch of like mean stuff or whatever, vulgar things, but like barely, you know, like I'm not owning it at all. And then they're like, okay, Eman, thank you so much for coming. Very sweet of you. And I was just like, oh God, what was that, you know, like, oh shit.
You're like, you went too hard with it.
Yeah, so that was a very memorable audition, because that was, I talked to an acting coach about it later, and she was like, you're not your character. And I was like, oh yeah.
Oh, right.
Oh yeah, acting.
Yeah.
Got it.
I'm not a horrible bigot, that's right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I'm sure you had false starts, and you had auditions like that, and you had things all along the way where you're just like kind of ready to give up. Was there someone that just like kept you going, or something that kept you going?
That's interesting. I had moved to LA from Austin. I did pretty well in Austin in like indie films and commercials and stuff. And I moved to LA, and for 3 years I didn't book anything. It was just like, I went to a lot of auditions and had a really like good feedback and had a great team and got great options at roles or chances at roles, but nothing stuck. And I ended up just kind of walking away from acting. I actually was like, okay, this isn't feeding me, this is kind of like making me miserable, and then I got into music. So I make music under an alter ego called Dragon Wolf, and Dragon Wolf with a U, and that music sort of became the same feeling I had with acting initially. It was like the same fire, and then it was just kind of, it made sense. I was like, well, this is how I used to feel about acting, and acting used to make me really happy, so I'm going to follow this music thing. And the music kept me going, and still does. I still make music, until the acting all of a sudden took off. And it was like, well, that time flew by, you know? I was just having fun making music. So I'd probably attribute Dragon Wolf to keeping me going more than anything else.
Wow. So just like having some kind of creative endeavor. One of the questions we do get a lot in these is just, Texas has such a, as you well know, has such a great community of artists and actors and filmmakers, writers, directors. I'm sure there's some in the audience. Do you have any like advice, as a young actor yourself, to people who aspire to be where you are? Yeah,
to be in the industry. Yes. In Dallas, in Austin, in Houston, in San Antonio, I remember when I was first starting out, there was a email Yahoo list, Dan Egerton's list or something like that. But there's a bunch of lists online of auditions for random short films, indie films, little things. And when I first started, it was like, I Googled how to be an actor. Literally Googled it. And like,
that's a good start. Yeah.
It was like, all right, we're gonna start here, And it was like, you need a reel, you need a demo reel, you need a resume, you need credits. And I was like, okay, how do you get this, whatever. And you just need to be on sets. Like you need to get on sets and learn what a set is like and learn the positions and what they do. So I did like 20-something short films in a year as an actor, sometimes as like a really small part, sometimes as the main part in a short. And then I also would like do random crew positions, like I'd be sound op, boom opping, but also like asking tons of questions during like, hey, what do you do? What do you do? I'm a gaffer. Oh, what's that mean? Like, oh, cool. And so just like do your best to throw yourself into as many of the films around you as you can, and just be helping hand. Say, oh, I don't need, if it's on your free time, I don't need money, I just want to help and learn, and if I can ask questions. And those things tend to add up. People remember that, and people want you to be on their sets next time with a better thing, or they are down to help you. Like I ended up making a short film for the first time that I directed in Austin, and everybody on that crew were just different directors I had acted for or helped out as a crew member. And I finally like turned around and was like, I think I'm gonna make a movie now. And they were all like, yep, I'm there. Whatever position you need me to be on. And that was kind of from doing all that work in the first place. So
just
getting involved.
Yeah, just get out there and do it. Just do it and don't stop. Let's kind of talk here about alternatively, if you weren't acting, you mentioned tennis and kind of wanting to do that as a kid. If you weren't acting, what would you be doing? Would it be music, or like, do you have some kind of alternate reality version where if I'm not an actor, I'm doing this?
I think I have a degree in economics, and I think I really loved businesses. And my sister, she's an entrepreneur. She has a business called Fresh Petals here in Dallas, actually. She's
is this your sister?
This is my sister right here.
And she has a business in Dallas?
Yes, it's called Fresh Petals.
Where can
we florist and event arrangements? You're saying where can we find it?
Yeah, where can we find it?
Arts District, correct? Or it's like close. Design District.
Is it just at Fresh Petals?
Fresh.
Fresh.
Presch Petals.
That's Fresh.
And our parents, it's Fresh. yeah. And our parents were business owners.
Wow.
So I think business is just in my blood, and so I think I'd probably have like a coffee shop or some sort of retail business. If I wasn't in the acting business.
Yeah. Love it. That's great. And then what kind of stuff do you, besides music, like what are your hobbies? What do you like to do to unwind in your free time?
I love boxing.
Okay.
I love bouldering, which is like indoor rock climbing, no rope. I really like doing hill sprints. I know it sounds like weird, but I like.
These are things you like doing?
I know. I know. I mean, I've invited so many people. Like, do you sprint? They're like, what are you talking about?
These are all ways I would like punish myself.
Right. I don't know. Something about the hill sprint feels like, and I always try to find a hill somewhere wherever I am doing it, that at the top of the hill is kind of a cool view. So you like go to the top, you're like, and then you go back down, and then you run up to the top, you're like, wow. It's like you get that same dopamine rush every single time.
Yeah.
And it's always at the end of like, you're like, oh wow, look at this view again. And I don't know, something about that just feels like spiritually powerful.
My dad's gonna be so mad at me because I don't know what the name of it is, but my dad's very into that stuff, and there's these like steps in like Colorado. Do you know, they're like very narrow and they go all the way up, and it's like a big thing. Where is it?
Red Rocks.
Is it Red Rocks?
The Red Rocks?
Narrow and
they have the amphitheater, right?
Yes.
Red Rocks? Red Rocks Amphitheater.
But this is a trail that is literally, I don't think it's Red Rocks, it's literally there
like
to start and go up top.
Just stare straight.
I'm
gonna go do that.
You gotta go.
I'm
I'm
gonna go do that. Get to the top and be like, what a view.
Yeah. And then, you mentioned being a musician. What are like some of your favorite bands to listen to, or maybe influences on your band? I know it's a hard question.
I love so many, and I'm gonna make so many different genres of music.
Yeah.
I'd say like in the genre I'm in, which is right now rap and hip hop. I love J. Cole.
Okay.
I love Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah.
I grew up on Wayne and Eminem.
Yeah.
And Drake, and there's some new guys like J.I.D., Jid, Smino, Deontay Hitchcock. These guys are incredible.
Yeah.
But then I'm a huge Sinatra fan, Paul
Alright.
Anka fan, Dean Martin fan. Yeah, if anyone likes the oldies. And then I love like indie rock.
Yeah.
Dermot Kennedy and
Yeah.
Mumford & Sons,
Yeah.
things like that. So.
Should do something that combines all three of those very different genres into one.
Yeah, with a bunch of beat switches.
Yeah, like crooner hip hop or something.
Yeah. Crooner. Okay, come on now, James.
Yeah.
Crooner hip hop.
What's your favorite like thing to binge watch or like your guilty pleasure? Like
Anime.
anime?
So quick. I mean, and I wasn't aware how much of a fan I was of something that I don't necessarily think I can mention.
Right.
That now I can, that I know of. I didn't know how adjacent I was to the fandom.
Oh,
like
cool.
I love all these other things growing up, and then get involved with something, and everyone I'm working with, they're like, "Yeah, you love that? How could you have not seen this?" And I'm like, "I guess I don't know. It didn't reach me, but I love everything you guys love.
Yeah.
I love everything the cons are about to be.
Yeah.
So anime." Can I say animes that I like?
I think it's
not like
something
sad.
you're not in, you can. And
Oh,
it's animated and it's voice
It's
acting.
also
so
a different,
Yeah, it's different.
I love watching Dragon Ball Z clips.
Okay,
back.
alright.
I watch a lot of Naruto fights back, like on TikTok edits.
Yeah.
I watch a lot of. I've started One Piece. I actually finally got into One Piece, and then I'll watch like the best fight scenes of all animes. Like I'll just like look that up, and I'll watch just like top 10 fights. And sometimes they don't show you the whole fight, which is so frustrating. You gotta go find the single fight. But I'll fall into that hole. Sometimes in the morning, I'm like, I'll just do it for like 10 minutes, and then an hour, I'm like, oh shit, I gotta go. But I've just been watching anime fights. I just am obsessed with it.
It's been so cool to see as conventions have grown, and growing up in a time of like early anime in the 90s, and to see how it is so much its own genre now, and to see how much space it occupies at not only these kinds of conventions, but their own conventions, and like some of the anime releases are just like right up there with major studio releases in terms of how well they do. So
can we make some noise for all this type of fandom that we all have? This is like our stuff, I grew up not telling anybody because people would make fun of me for watching this kind of stuff.
Yeah,
And now here we are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? At this convention center, and like, you're right.
Yeah.
They're just as big now.
I always think that we got pushed into the lockers for the next generation. Now it's
Exactly,
like cool.
dude. We are now here.
Yeah, now it's like cool. Like anime is
It's
cool.
so cool.
Yeah, it's
It's
crazy.
always been cool.
Yeah. We took the persecution so that you could live freely and love your anime.
Yeah, to the kids of this generation.
Yeah.
No.
And what do you do? Like you mentioned some of these, so they may be the same. But like when you are filming, are there specific rituals you have or things that you do to like unwind or relax?
Yeah, actually, so during the pandemic, I did a ton of yoga. I mean, every day, sometimes twice a day, and I got into a lot of breath work stuff.
Yeah.
And so once I got back into acting, which was like, I was like very specific about what I would be willing to do, it became sort of second nature. Like, okay, if I'm ever gonna walk onto a set, I had to have had like a 45-minute breath work, relaxation, stretching, like movement session first, so that everything in my body's relaxed, my voice is relaxed, and you just become sort of a clearer channel for like whatever comes at you during the moment, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna let that through. There's nothing blocking you. So that's like a very specific ritual that I do. And then I'm very specific with like the music moods in the morning, in like a trailer or something. I'll light an incense, not a champa, and I'll throw some jazz on, and it's just like, it's just like being in the zenest place ever, but until they're like, Eman, you ready? I'm like, yes, it's time.
Speaking of one character specifically, that makes a lot of sense. You're very zen, dude. All right, so who is I'm sure you've gotten to now, whether it's conventions or elsewhere, I'm sure you've gotten to meet a lot of your heroes, but like, who's someone that you still haven't met that you'd love to meet? I'm sure there's a long list.
Yeah, I mean, Roger Federer, who's a tennis
Okay,
player.
all right.
Still working on that.
Yeah.
But in this particular world,
Yeah.
Fassbender.
Okay.
I just think
he's getting back into it now. He went away for a little while.
He went away to be a Formula One racer, I think.
And now he's in
literal race car driver.
Taika Waititi's new movie, Next Goal Wins. Yeah.
So him, I just think he's such an amazing actor.
Yeah. Man, we need to work on getting him in
somewhere near, somewhere near.
Yeah.
God, that'd be crazy.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
that'd be so cool. Him, and then I did a film with. Well, actually, I'll move along from that one. There's been other news, and I don't need to.
We can talk about it.
Yeah. I think I'd love to meet Denzel Washington. I just think he's a legend.
All right.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Shout out to Denzel. He all love. He's a legend.
Of course.
And who else would I love to meet? I'd actually love to meet a bunch of the younger guys, like Paul Mescal.
Yeah.
He's just like one of my favorites right now, and it's just cool to see someone being recognized like that for how good they are. And I just want to get in it with you know, I want to have a scene where we get to like go and like really push that envelope. But yeah,
That's good. And this may be a different answer, but who would you want to have dinner with, living or deceased?
I would say someone who is deceased, but I can't say.
I think you can say their name.
No.
Oh, you can't?
I can't because they're a part of the show.
All right.
The show's predecessor.
Okay, all right.
But I think I would have dinner with my mother's mother, who I never got to meet.
Aww.
Yeah.
That's
my grandmother.
Everyone else has had really selfish, like, famous answers, and you went really sweet and personal with it. That's so nice. Shame on everyone else. That's what you did.
I watched all their panels, like, I'm gonna do something else. This is gonna be so much better.
Paul Bettany said John Lennon, and he said your mother's mother. Yeah. What are your fall traditions? Do you love, like, are you a fall guy? Are you into the spooky season?
I'm not necessarily a fall guy. I love it when it gets cold outside. I like to wear jackets. I think you can wear more fashion.
We didn't really grow up in a state that's.
I'm about to say, like, it didn't
fall.
really change much growing up here.
It's literally like 90 degrees
It's 90
outside.
degrees. It's warm.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm I just like that fashion changes.
Yeah.
Like it's
Totally.
more like layered. And,
and
you're hanging out like outside at you know, bars and stuff instead.
Yeah.
I like that air, that cool, brisk air.
Yeah.
So but nothing like in particular. Like it's
Right.
fall. It's time to put the pumpkins up and get my Halloween costume ready.
Yeah, it's okay. I got you covered for both of us. Yeah. Do you have any pets?
I don't have any pets. No.
It's hard to probably be on the road and have a pet.
Yeah, I think I'm not in the place right now in my life to keep a pet.
Yeah. Who was your childhood hero? Do you have one? Was it a tennis player?
No. I think it was probably like Goku or like
Alright,
or like Naruto. You know what I mean? Like I was really into him.
No one said they had to be real. And before you became an actor, what was like your, you know, I'm sure you had other kind of odd and end jobs. Did you have one that was particularly like embarrassing or bad?
I taught tennis for 9 years, which sounds cool, and it is cool. And it's glamorous for the hour that you see the tennis pro, but behind the scenes, being a tennis pro is not glamorous. We are doing a lot of the dirty work.
Yeah.
And we're cleaning, like we're sweeping the clays, we're cleaning the trash, we're like literally cleaning bathrooms sometimes. Like, or like I was a camp counselor at this tennis camp.
All right, yeah.
And sometimes kids, you know, they're 8 or 9 and they're at camp for the first time, they just randomly pee themselves or something, you know? And it's like,
it happens.
You're his counselor, dude.
Yeah.
No one else to do it but you. You gotta help this kid. You're like, dang, dude, this is part of the job?
Yeah.
I gotta go to school. I'm 18, I don't know what to do. So, or kids are also rowdy. Kids can be crazy.
Yeah.
And I remember I was 17 once at an academy, tennis academy, and they were like, Eman, we need a counselor. I'm not gonna name the place because I don't get the job. We need a counselor, but everyone there is like 17 or 18. I was like, how am I gonna be their counselor? I'm their age. And they're like, we're gonna tell them you're 20. So they were having me act before I even knew I was an actor, you know what I'm saying? And I was like, okay. And they was like, just go in there, be confident, have authority. I was like, what is this weird week about to be like? So I walk in, it's all these like, and they're all bigger than me. I'm not a huge dude, so 17, 18-year-old kid, I'm like, everyone listen up. Put your luggage on your bed. These are the rules of the dorm. Basically regurgitating what all my counselors said to me. And then halfway through the week, they'd be like, yo, dude, do you think it's cool if I like order a pizza to the camp? I'm like, I don't think so. He was like, you can have some. I'm like, I guess, yeah. You know, like I was like still a camper in a way, you know?
Yeah.
And so it was just like, and then they were also trying to sneak out and do things like that. And you know, it was kind of like, what do? Like a part of me wants to be a homie.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
These are like my homies, I feel like, but they don't know that. They think I'm their counselor. Yeah, so that was a funny job that had me do a lot of random stuff.
Yeah, and good practice, right?
Actually, yeah, good practice.
All right, well, we'll get into some fun bits here before we have to wrap up. What's your most useless talent or skill? Keep it PG.
I guess like I'm skateboarded for a long time, so
Oh,
I'm pretty good at
alright.
skateboarding, and like
Alright.
I can, you know, varial kickflip, and if I'm warmed up, maybe do a tray flip. But it's something that like has really yet to serve me yet. You know what I mean? It really is just,
skateboard in the
yes,
house.
skateboarding.
Yeah.
Anyone here?
Yeah.
Yeah, see some skateboarding. It just really just like hurts me, if anything, because you go out. I'm like, oh gosh, I haven't done this in a while.
I really wish
Fall.
someone had a skateboard on them because we'd make you
That
show
would
it off
be
right now.
crazy. I'd destroy these boots, but.
What do you